the Anyone But Cam Fantasy Football Podcast.
Welcome back to Season 2 of the Anyone But Cam Off-Season Podcast. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Frankie. I am one of your commissioners, and sitting next to me is Cameron. Cam, how's it going?
It's going amazing. We're back. We're bigger than ever, better than ever.
We have new intro, as you just heard. We have new drops, new segments, a live studio audience. Let's hear it, guys.
Yay.
I'm going to play the sound effect.
Oh, okay.
You get that? Maybe I won't. Maybe it'll be fun. Either way, we're back. We're happy to be back. I'll come back at you every week up until the championship week, and maybe even past that. Maybe we'll find out. It's a long ways away.
We need the postseason retrospective.
Yes, we'll do that.
When I'm here to discuss how I won my championship.
You'll be here to discuss with the champion, who is me.
We'll see.
We'll see. Alrighty. So we're recording this the night after the draft. Big night, as always.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people find it to be the best part of fantasy football. Me personally, maybe my least favorite night of fantasy football, if I'm being completely honest. Just because there's a lot of stress going into it, and then you just think about every little decision, and you just, a lot of tilting happening. Especially last night. Last night was an especially tilting experience for me. I don't know about you.
I was doing all right. There was that one pick where I traded it to Dylan because I just had no idea what I wanted to do. But other than that, I always felt pretty good about my plan.
A little behind the scenes, that pick that trade almost went disastrously because my laptop I was using is an old laptop, not the fastest. When you guys had like 10 seconds on the clock left for that pick, I was scrolling my hardest to get to the top of the screen to pause that, but it's not the most responsive computer. I was like, oh my god, this is gonna ruin the entire draft, which I'm sure I could have just paused and figured it out. But in the moment, I'm like, oh my god! But it all worked out, thankfully.
So it's strategically increasing your tilting.
I mean, yeah. Whenever you guys were like trading, and Devin's like, "All right, Frankie, I'm trading my fifth and sixth for last 7." I'm just like, bro, can you not talk to me? Like, I have headphones in for a reason. I don't want to hear you guys talk. Like,
it's almost if you should have, put this off on your other commissioner to do, using his i7 Intel processor.
Yeah, but he was running a whole operation through MATLAB and RStudio, and just had his own thing going. Thousands and thousands and thousands of I don't even what do you call it, simulations, I guess.
Yeah.
Run-throughs of the draft, analysis of routes and things like that, plays.
Basically, Doctor Strange in Infinity War, just looking at all of the future possibilities.
Yeah. And he found the one that got him the best team possible, right?
We'll see about
We'll
that.
get to that. We'll get to that later in the show. But until then, we're just gonna go over some quick let's see. Yeah, some quick, just maybe like thoughts and reactions. Did you have any like immediate thoughts or reactions? How do you think last night went for you or for the group as a whole? How do you think the draft went?
I mean, I thought it was pretty good. Besides the mess that everyone left in my house.
There was a mess left at your house?
Oh, just a small mess. Mostly Jake Logan.
Unsurprising.
Uh-huh.
Surprising to no one. I left first, so I was not privy to that, and also didn't bring any trash. So, but yeah, I always wanted to bring this up because I was super happy that once we put out the submission form thing, planning went splendidly. All of a sudden, I got back 5 responses. It was like, hey, the 28th was it, or the 26th works for me, and I just texted like 5 people, and they're like, oh yes. And I was like, oh wow. So thank you guys all for that. Also, just talk really quickly about the buy-in. I think I have 7 people who have paid so far. Or maybe 7 or 8, which is way better than any other previous year. A couple of the usual customers haven't paid yet. We'll get to that. You'll be on the buy-in wall of shame all year, and like I wrote in the post last night, I believe, I'm going to be more annoying about it this year. At least 4 times as more annoying about it until you pay me.
Some said it wasn't possible.
Some said I was very gracious last year and let people wait until like week 16 to pay. But yeah,
I don't know, $10 is a lot of money for weak people.
Right. And so before we get a little too deep into the draft talk, I want to talk really quickly about the schedule I created the schedule last night. You can check out all your matches. Of course, in our division system, in our scheduling system, you play your first 3 weeks against your division mates, just like last season. You'll end your season with 3 straight weeks against your division mate, and then the doubleheader week. You can find the doubleheader schedule in the pin post, as always, with the Constitution, the write-up changes in case you still want to read up on those, and then the links to the podcast, of course. But just a couple of quick notes I had about the schedule. Obviously, week 1, me versus Logan. That's a high-profile match, always is. And we'll talk. We're gonna go more in depth on matchups next week on the podcast. Where it's gonna be just a bit more draft centric. But just a couple things I wanted to point out. Once we get a division play, we have some fun matchups. With week 4 right off the bat, we have the Commissioner Bowl, me versus Justin. I mean, come on. I'm hyped. What are you? Oh, come on, Cam, aren't you hyped?
I am very hyped to see how all the players Justin got off of your do not draft list just smite you down with a godly fury.
Yeah, we'll get to that do not draft list. That's a fun one. Also, week 4 we'll have the first Try Hard Chalice of the season, one with Dylan, who retains it from last season. Will be going against Tyler Walker for it. See if we can finally have it change hands for the first time.
That would be fantastic. We could get a drop for it, maybe.
Yes. And then week 5. The podcast host championship.
It could possibly be the last episode of the podcast if he beats me.
Why is that way? Then we'd be tied.
Yeah, and I can't have that.
You can't have
I
that.
must be superior.
Oh, I mean, how many league championships do you want again? Can we just remind the audience in case anyone forgot? I mean, it's been a long offseason.
League championships are a inaccurate stat to show skill.
Inaccurate, huh?
Yeah.
All right, we'll go with that then. You can trust me. You can go with what Cam said. Anyways, yeah. So you guys can look at the schedule, check it all out. Some fun matchups to look at. Anyways, let's get right into some draft reactions. Alrighty. So, like we said, draft was last night. I mean, maybe the headline of the night, underrated because it went by so fastly. 101, Todd Gurley to Devin. Yes, that's his guy, and yes, Todd Gurley, if he plays at full strength, is worth the 101. But who knows what's up with that knee? We still don't really know.
Yeah, honestly, not what I would have done, pretty clearly, because
Right.
the old adage is you can't win your draft in the first round, but you can definitely lose it.
Yes.
And Todd Gurley is one of those picks where you could lose him, and therefore, basically, all of your running back strength through the season.
Yeah. And then right after that, I mean, I think the first 3 picks were pretty wild. So maybe not the third one so much, but David Johnson to JP. Again, I believe this is the 3rd year in a row with him because of the keepers. But this time you just drafted him, which like I get that if you think that's just the next best available player, that makes sense. Not sure about Lev Bell in I was going to say New England. Goodness gracious, in New York. But David Johnson, another year, new offense, same old offensive line, so no improvements there. But I was personally surprised because I this season I besides for I believe like 1 pick or maybe like 1 or 2 picks later in the draft, I pretty much went all with new players. Obviously, besides for my keepers, like I definitely tried to really mix things up this season in terms of my own roster, just because things obviously didn't go well for me last season.
Makes sense.
So I thought JP might have had a similar thought. No, not at all. Just went right for David Johnson. And if it works out, it works out. I don't know. I personally, I don't know if I like either of the first 2 picks.
I probably would have taken David Johnson. Assuming that I don't want a wide receiver, and JP did have 2 wide receiver keepers.
Yes.
So it makes sense that he's just trying to lock up a stud running back.
Yeah.
And David Johnson, I mean, he's definitely going to get the work. Offensive line might be bad, but hopefully he'll actually be used in the passing game now that they have a competent college losing offensive coordinator. We'll see what happens.
That's right. I don't want to just go through pick by pick here, but I do want to talk quickly about how the first round of this draft ruined my entire draft. Can I just go on that really quickly? I was so intent on going running back in the first 2 rounds. Every fiber of my being said it. And I figured it would happen because I didn't think he was going to take DJ at 2. And so I thought that I was going to get a pick of either Dalvin Cook or Joe Mixon.
I thought you would have gotten Joe Mixon too as well.
And I wanted Dalvin Cook, personally.
Dylan sent me a trade offer earlier in the draft day, saying what would it take to get your 101, and basically I got his first 3 picks that weren't keepers or his first round pick, and I was considering it strongly, and I said, as long as my guy doesn't fall to me, I will do it. But lo and behold, my guy Dalvin Cook fell to me, and Dylan also told me that the whole reason he wanted to trade up was to get Dalvin Cook as well.
All right, that's 3 of us then.
Yeah.
All right, well that makes sense. And then from there, my choices on the board. Obviously, look at these keepers out of here, OBJ, and then some other, some running back talents. And so I was so content on going running back, and in some mocks I did go OBJ, or I went Mike Evans at that point. I went earlier in the month when he had higher ADP. I went Mike Evans, which I was like, oh, that's not okay. I cannot do that in real life. That would be a mess. That's why you mock, if you figure things out.
That's why some people do. Other people just, blindly fly in there.
Yeah. So I do think that OBJ is still a good pick. I'm nervous about new offense, obviously. But, I like Baker. I like him being the number 1 wide receiver. Obviously he's one of the most talented wide receivers in the entire league. So I don't feel like I went wrong there personally. But it did mess up my strategy for the rest of the entire draft, which is why I ultimately did not walk away happy with my draft by any means, really. Because then in later rounds, I was really focusing more on position than I was on value or than on talent. So I was like, well, I need more running backs. I need running backs, and you'll see running backs. But anyways, and from that moment, I said it during the draft, I'm like, this draft, cool, 3 C's, baby, cool, calm, collected. And then from this 8th, 7th pick on, I was like, once Dalvin got to you, I was like, dude, what are the chances he takes OBJ? It's like, well, he has Kamar, Cam, the high upside. It's like, oh no, I was so upset. Anyways.
Honestly, if Dalvin Cook didn't have that 85-yard touchdown run in the preseason that I watched live, I probably would have taken OBJ.
Yeah, and we'll see how it goes. Yeah. And do you have any other immediate reactions from the first couple rounds? Or
JP
picks?
Taking Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, of course.
Honestly, when it happened, I was like, that's not a big deal. It's not super early. Right. But then you just see how far all the other quarterbacks fell.
Right.
And it's just, you hate to see it.
Yeah.
Could have gotten someone like Josh Jacobs, Stephon Diggs there instead. And then waited, instead of getting 2 tight ends in the middle rounds, could have gotten Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Would have much preferred that if I were JP.
Yeah. I'm not super sure how far Mahomes falls in our draft after that, because I don't know. That's a hard one to figure out. But I don't think he drops so much farther. But then again, the next quarterback off the board is 706, and he's dropping to 11. So that's huge. Yeah, other big picks. I was a bit surprised by the Antonio Brown pick from Levi. Not hugely surprised because he is the wide receiver guy of anyone in our league. But I wouldn't have drafted Antonio Brown. I even with our because the ADP is kind of screwed up because of keepers, I still wouldn't have liked to take AB in the 2nd round personally. But I was probably no way he's going to get to the 3rd round anyway. So that's for the first couple picks. That one surprised me a bit. Leonard Fournette to Jake surprised me a lot.
I don't really know who that went after Leonard Fournette. I like a lot more than him.
I like Devonta Freeman a lot more than Leonard Fournette. That's why I got him. I also like Chris Carson a lot more. To me, that pick was between the 2 of them.
Yeah. Leonard Fournette just seems safer, in my opinion.
Obviously the Atlanta O-line's had its struggles so far in the preseason, which gives me pause. But I personally I can't imagine taking Leonard over Chris Carson in our PPR league, and to me it doesn't make sense. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know. I don't think anything too crazy happened in our first couple rounds here. Melvin Gordon falling to is at 412.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be expected. I wasn't going to draft him until the 5th. But so 412 was right there. Yeah. Yeah. Any other? OJ. Oh yeah, the one we were talking earlier about Logan's pick of OJ Howard for tight end 410. Not crazy, but it did seem to be more like a meme pick just to get at Jake, and and he even said it himself, I don't really want him. So I just don't think messing around with your 4th round pick is like that worth memeing, but you know.
I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, and it made Jake scream and shout, and I'm always here for that.
Yeah. Alrighty. Do we have any other immediate draft reactions? Maybe on your own, for your own team? Anything mid round we're talking about later? Anything happens in mid or later rounds you thinking of?
Honestly, not really. It was really weird because basically every time I drafted, there was either a couple people that I wanted, or I just wanted nobody.
Yeah.
So we just kind of took their punches and picked some people. And afterwards, I've been thinking about it more, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. How about yourself?
I mean, I was able to reflect a bit on my draft, and I do like my team. I don't love my team. I like my team. I think that's fine. I mean, you don't win the league at the draft. Obviously, it's a 16-week game. Like that's crazy to think that. But I mean, like, I think I have a solid enough foundation. Basically, like if Philip Lindsay has the starting role, I love my team. And that's my big question mark is Philip Lindsay. Because I do think Devontae Freeman is going to be a good running back. And I think I have potential to have 3 wide receiver ones on my team.
Yeah.
So, and we're playing with the extra flex this season, so I like that. My running back is my big question mark. Obviously, who knows what's gonna happen with Mark Andrews as a tight end. And Lamar Jackson's a streamer for me. I didn't invest any capital into him. Then I just took a lot of streamers. I mean, players like Sterling Shepard and Geronimo, I think, are probably better candidates for like late season bloomers, and they might just be right on my bench for a while. But I still felt like Sterling Shepard could have a really good start to the season, especially if Daniel Jones gets into that quarterback role soon enough, and we have a competent thrower behind center. Sorry, Eli.
The disrespect.
Yeah, but ultimately, I like looking back. Tariq Cohen's probably my biggest regret of the entire draft. But I still don't. I mean, I still think he could be really good. We just don't know what's going to happen in that backfield with Montgomery coming in. But I did want to talk about at least one more quick thing here. I did have a do not draft list.
Oh boy.
And these players, I have players like Patrick Mahomes, Todd Gurley on here, and being a do not draft does not mean they're bad players by any means. But for their value, for what I think their role is going to be, I didn't want him. I was never going to draft him. By the way, Tariq Cohen was one of those people. Just to let you know. Just to, for some fairness. Justin drafted 3 players on my do not draft list. So I decided to give him grief about. So Jarvis Landry was one that he drafted that I did not like at his value. I think Jarvis Landry is a classic case of a better wide receiver in the NFL than he is in fantasy. When the Browns were winning, he was used less. And now there's OBJ as the actual wide receiver one. 5th, 6th round is kind of where the big value players kind of drop off. I don't love him in the 5th rounds personally. Corey Davis, again on my new John draft list. And in the 10th, not a whole lot of capital giving up there. The opportunity cost isn't like insane. But I just don't think he's going to be a wide receiver you can play in any week. I mean, maybe with the extra flex. Again, I can see that, but I feel like he has other options. I can see him with the extra flex, but he is going to run 2 kickers. So to me, it just didn't make sense for his team. And then Eric Ebron was also on my list before Andrew Luck's injury, or before his retirement, I mean. And then now after, I just don't get that one personally. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jarvis Landry, I definitely agree with. He is totally dependent on just getting a lot of targets to get points, and now that he's not the number 1 wide receiver, I don't know how much you can really guarantee that. And then Corey Davis, have you seen his college highlights?
I've seen them. I've also seen his NFL plays, and I don't use the word highlights because there aren't many plays to make a whole reel.
Once he gets a competent quarterback, such as Ryan Tannehill throwing him the ball and not that bum Marcus Mariota who went to some awful college, maybe he'll be good.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Tannehill is, if nothing else, is a game manager that made it to the NFL. So, yeah. Okay, anything else for the draft?
JP, you drafted Jimmy Garoppolo over Cam Newton.
Yeah, that was crazy. I'm a little upset at you for pointing it out.
Yeah, I regretted it after I did. I was just so shocked.
We all let Cam Newton. Like, I was looking at the quarterback, and I had like already scrolled down past like I'd been scrolled down to like where Lamar Jackson and Dak. It was, to me, it was between either of those two.
Dak wasn't even drafted.
No, he was picked up, which I'm upset about because he said Logan said he was gonna pick up Darnold.
Liar.
And I would have picked Dak up anyways, but with 5 bench spots, I couldn't justify it. But it's going to know me that's going to use him week 1 against me, so that's highly obnoxious. But I do think Lamar Jackson. I mean, we'll see. We'll see if Zeke plays. Cam Newton. Yeah, how did he fall that far? That's crazy. Yeah, I might miss week 1, but he's probably going to play week 1.
Yeah, and even if someone already had a quarterback, such as Dylan, he is definitely worth trade value of someone many rounds earlier than where Cam.
Yeah, you think I would have drafted Michael Badgley over Cam Newton? I don't think so. I would have found somebody else on the waivers.
But you did.
But I did. We all did. Look how many picks there are. There's so many picks. Oh my god. Yeah, that. I mean, he has like quarterback number 1 potential.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say high potential, but it's there. I mean, he's not one of these guys who I think don't have a quarterback 1 potential. Like, I don't think Jimmy G has a quarterback one potential. I don't think Baker has quarterback number 1 potential. I don't think Kyler Murray has quarterback number 1 potential. Baker I'm a little bit more, but Cam Newton does, and that's kind of crazy to get him in the 16th round.
Yeah.
Alrighty, and that's it for the draft?
Yeah.
That's it for the draft. All right. Let's move on now to... We just had the draft. Cam immediately plugged us into the Fantasy Pros arbitrary draft rankings, which, generally mean nothing. I mean, but you can interpret them however you'd like. I don't know.
Says the man who is low in the rankings.
I've been saying this for 3 years, but that's fine. It's just like it's conventional knowledge. It's conventional knowledge that it doesn't mean anything. But anyway, I'm only pointing it out because I love that Devin named his team 50 out of 100, which was his score. I love that. But Fantasy Pros, great website. But come on, we got 2 analysts right here.
Yeah, the most accurate.
Who knows our league better than us? That's why we're doing our first edition of the Power Rankings. Power Rankings. All right, we both have our own power rankings. I have you guys broken up into tiers. You are unranked, that they're not ranked in the tiers, but kind of ranked in the tiers. Cam has you straight up ranked. And I guess we'll come to a consensus.
Okay.
And then we'll wrap up with a mailbag and we'll be out of here. But let's do this power ranking, babe. All right, do you want to go first or want me to go first?
I can go first.
All right, go ahead.
So the way I did these, in case anyone wants to know the process, is I gave everyone a score between 1 and 5 for each position group. 5 being elite, like best possible quarterback in the league, such as that, or a 1 being just like you could easily find someone better just on the waiver wire. So to go through this, I have 4 tiers as well. Out of a possible 100 points, tier 1 all scored above 70 points, and the highest score is Tyler, 72.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then we got Lassie, me, and Dylan. Those are our top 4 teams in my power rankings. Tyler gets to the top because he has a above average quarterback, wide receiver group, running back group, and kicker group. With only his tight end and defense, I both gave them as below par.
Yep, same.
And so that was able to put him at top. Lassie has no position group for me that is below average. It scores average at quarterback, tight end, kicker, and defense, and above average at wide receiver and running back. And that's good for Lassie because, wide receiver and running back are probably the 2 most valuable positions in this league. So being above average in those 2 is solid for him. I have myself third with above average at quarterback, wide receiver, and running back, and average to below average everywhere else. And then Dylan rounds it out with having an elite QB room because he matched up Aaron Rodgers and Cam Newton. And then above average wide receivers.
Yep.
He's got middling running backs for me because he's got some good guys, but not a lot of depth there.
Same.
Good tight end for sure. Mediocre kicker and a medium defense.
Mediocre kicker?
Yeah.
He has no kicker.
Exactly. But I had it. You could not get a 1 in kicker because anyone you pick up off the waiver wire is just automatically a 2. It was like that for defense as well. All right, and we follow that up with Levi. Levi's got probably the most variance in his team for me because he's got above average at quarterback and wide receiver and an elite tight end, whereas he's below average in running back and just average in kicker and defense. Levi does have 2 pretty good starters at running back, but then just like garbage at depth there. So if he doesn't get injuries and Melvin Gordon doesn't come back because he has Austin Eckler, he could be good, but I don't know how confident I am about that. And then Logan has average quarterback because Dak, average. Can't really have a bad quarterback with how few quarterbacks are actually in this league. He's got above average wide receivers. I know he's going to be upset by that because he has Robbie Anderson, but Logan, you're average. And then below average running backs. He's got 2 good starters, but nothing behind there.
Agreed.
I gave him at slightly above average for tight end because, as I recall, he has 2 tight ends, which are both just okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave him average.
Oh, wait, no. He got O.J. Howard.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and I kind of like O.J. Howard, so he's like not just an average tight end, but he's not as good as Kittle or Ertz. And then kicker and defense, both above average, because we know Logan values those very much. That rounds out tier 2. Then with tier 3, these teams are all, I don't know, mediocre, fighting for a wild card spot, in my opinion.
Before week 1.
Yeah. And there we have Devin, who is actually like Lassie. He's at least average in every position, but the positions he's above average in are not the ones that you really want to be. So quarterback, tight end, and defense, he all got above average, whereas he's just average in kicker, running back, and wide receiver. These positions we start the most of, kicker, running back, and wide receiver. And then followed up by Greg, who is literally average everywhere except for the kicker position. Go Greg. Do you disagree anywhere?
Let me double check Greg's quarterbacks.
Matt Ryan.
Is that it?
Yeah.
I gave him an A- because I'm high on Matt Ryan, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Matt Ryan's a difference maker at quarterback this year, but we'll see. And then rounding out that tier 3, we have both Frankie and Justin, our commissioners. Frankie gets there by being below average at running back and tight end and defense, average at kicker and quarterback, and elite at wide receiver. One of the 4 elite scores I gave out. Wait, no, I only gave out like 3 elite scores. So yeah, you got really good wide receivers, homie.
Yeah.
But
the only thing I disagree. I'm not sure I have below average tight end. We'll have to wait and see. That's a wait and see for me with Mark Andrews. But
I mean, he was like 14th tight end drafted.
Yeah, that doesn't mean. That doesn't mean anything to me.
All right. And then Justin with a 1 at wide receiver. Justin, what are you doing, man? And then he's actually elite at running back and kicker, above average at quarterback and defense, and below average at tight end. But just that sucky wide receiver room in a league that is pretty much 3 wide receiver.
Yeah.
Bring him down a lot.
Yeah.
And then to round out our bottom tier, both the Jakes, JP and Jake Logan, with JP getting that 11th spot. Way to go, JP. The elite quarterback in Patrick Mahomes, but below average at wide receiver, running back, above average at tight end, kicker, and defense. So he's got a good team, just not where it really counts at wide receiver and running back for my scoring system. But we'll see, because he's got decent starters. Actually, no, he doesn't. He's got okay starters.
We're at JP.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, starters. Yeah.
And then finally, Jake Logan, scoring the only score below JP's score of 59 with a 48. Out
of 100, right? 48.
Yes. 48
less than Devin.
Oh.
Out of 50 out of 100.
Yes, exactly. And the only position that he's above average in is quarterback, and then he's average at wide receiver, and then below average at running back, kicker, and defense, and a 1 at tight end, because he doesn't even have one as of right now.
Right.
If he gets that up to a 2, he could bring his score all the way up to 50.
Dave tied with Devin's fantasy press.
Let's see it, Jake.
Alrighty. So
Wait, just to run it back real quick.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
1, Tyler. 2, Lassie. 3, me. 4, Dylan. 5, Levi. 6, Logan. 7, Devin. 8, Greg. 9, Frankie. 10, Justin. 11, JP. And 12, Jake Logan.
Alrighty, and like I said, I broke mine more into tiers. They're a bit more like they're not super ranked within the tiers, but I have 4 tiers. My top tier is Dylan, Levi, and Cam. Oh, so I should probably break down how I rank this out first. So I broke everyone's team down by position, kind of like Cam: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and then kicker, defense. And I added in for flex, which is just kind of like, since this power rankings to me are just we're doing power rankings pretty much every week. I was kind of looking at like flex, who I think people are going to flex for week 1, and then I also did an overall score on bench, as well. I mean, I guess you could incorporate in those other scores, but I was more thinking like starters, running back, starter quarterback, and all or that kind of stuff. So I did bench as well. By the way, most people got like a B or below on bench. But yeah, so the top tier was Dylan, Levi, and Cam, with an average team score of B plus. And I think I agreed on a lot of what you had to say for, like, Dylan, obviously really good quarterback, good wide receiver, really good tight ends. I didn't find him having a whole lot of options. I loved him for flex week 1. Obviously no kicker. And I gave his bench a B plus, which was like the 3rd or 4th highest score. So that's a good bench.
Hey.
And then Levi in that as well. I gave him a C for running backs, which is not great at all.
Mm-hmm.
C is pretty dang low for my rankings. But I gave him an A in wide receiver, tight end, and flex. So those really bumped him up a lot. And then a B minus in bench. Yeah, pretty decent to good scores all around. And then with you, Cam, the only thing I gave you below a B minus was your kicker. So.
Oof. Brett Maher's a stud.
I give you I did give you a B/B minus for your tight ends, because you only have Dan McDonald, and he could be great, but he could also not be great, not be great at all. For like, he's a really good NFL player. I don't know if he's a great fantasy player quite yet. So again, those are your 2 lower scores, but I give you B in quarterback, A in running back, A in wide receiver. So like
A in running back.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I have really good starters, but then I don't feel super confident about my depth, so it feels good.
Well, like I was saying, the running back score was just for like the starters, and then
right.
like flex and bench were for like the rest of the guys,
Okay.
which were a little bit lower.
Okay.
The next tier, without any order, was Tyler, myself, JP, Greg, and Logan. So Lassie's really falling from your rankings. I think that's the big one. And then we all just kind of, like, this tier's a big one because it's like, I don't really know. Like, we're so many places where people are good or bad. I agreed a lot with what you had to say about most players here. So yeah. I think probably the top of this tier, if I had to pick somebody, is probably Tyler, and then either me or Logan. I'm not sure. And then probably Greg and JP somewhere in there. Yeah. I mean, JP gets picked up a lot in my rankings for Mahomes as quarterback, and his kicker. Greg gets picked up for his defense and his quarterback situation as well, because I am higher on Matt Ryan than Cam is, so that's where that discrepancy comes in. Okay, so that's tier 2. Tier 3 is where I have Lassie and Devin. Lassie gets pulled down because I gave his tight end a C for just Delaney Walker. Like, he's just such a non-entity to me. I think he might have been on my don't draft list as well.
Oh, man.
And I gave his bench a C minus overall, which is of like depth of people I want to play or people who could explode. I just didn't think his bench is that incredibly strong, so that brought his ranking down quite a bit. But I still gave him above average in running back, above average in kicker, average in quarterback. So I mean, it's above average in wide receiver. So I think he's more above average where it matters. But for my overall rankings, like, it's just knocking down a little bit. But like I said, it's like the first tier was an average of B plus. The second tier was B. So the next tier is B minus of Devin and Lassie. Devin has like B's all across the board. A minus in tight ends, and then a C plus in kicker. But like pretty much B's right across the board otherwise. Give him a B plus at bench though, which is one of the better bench rankings for Devin. Bottom tier was Justin and Jake. Justin was on fringe here, but I gave him a C in wide receiver, flex, bench, and a C plus in tight ends, and obviously an A in running back. and an A plus in kicker. One of the only A plus. I probably should have mentioned. I gave out 2 A pluses. One to Justin as kicker, and one to JP for Patrick Mahomes. Because I'm not valuing by draft anymore. I'm just valuing about week to week starting. So yeah, he almost got bumped up a tier for the A plus. Justin, like I said, a lot of C's across the board, and then Jake to me is like obviously the worst team in the league. I don't think he'd fight us on that too much. Just quarterback B, running back B plus, wide receiver B, tight end F, flex C plus, kicker defense F, and his bench gave him a B overall because it's a really big bench.
Nice.
But yeah, so we're going down again. Tier 1 is Dylan, Cam, Levi. Tier 2, I have Logan, Greg, myself, Tyler, and JP. Then tier 3, Lassie and Devin, and then tier 4 is Jake and J Moss. But the range of scores, it goes from B plus to C plus. So, I mean, especially with the middle tiers, I feel like we're really just splitting hairs, and we're still weeks out from week 1. So, yeah, I guess do we want to try to make a consensus? Is the question.
Yeah.
So let's just talk. I guess just go start at the top. I guess. So who do you have in your top tier again?
Tyler, Lassie, me, and Dylan.
Tyler, Lassie, Cam, and Dylan. So we have in common Cam and Dylan. So I feel like those have to be 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I personally have Dylan higher than you.
Are we not just doing tiers? We're doing overall.
Oh, I guess we could do tiers.
Yeah, I thought we'd just do consensus tiers.
Okay, that's fine with me. So, we're just putting you and Dylan in your own tier then? Because I'm cool putting Tyler up there as well, because Tyler's in my tier below.
And I was going to say I'm fine putting Levi up there, because he's in my tier below.
So then we're only just adding 1 to our tiers each, right? Or no,
I would be taking Lassie out.
Taking Lassie out, putting in Levi instead. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Mark it down.
So top tier is Tyler, Levi, me, and Dylan.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Okay.
We got 1 representative from each division besides 2 alphas.
Yeah.
Let's go alphas. Oh god, but don't remember that Jake Logan is in alphas.
Alrighty, and so in my next tier I have Logan, Greg, JP, and me left.
Okay.
And you have Lassie in top tier. We have put Lassie there.
Yeah. Okay. And I also have Logan, so Logan's locked into tier 2.
So Logan and Lassie.
And
then I have Greg, JP, and me.
Okay, so JP is my bottom tier.
Okay,
so I'm not
so we'll drop JP.
And then you and Greg are both 2 points to 4 points below tier 2 in my scoring system. Or is there any that you feel strongly about?
Wait, what do you mean?
That should be in tier 2 instead of tier 3 between you and Greg. Like, why do you think Greg deserves to be up a tier from tier 3?
So you have him tier 3.
Yeah. Because I look at his team. I'm not very high on Calvin Ridley. No offense, Greg.
Personally, to me too.
Miles Sanders, I think, could be good, but there's a wide range of outcomes, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Just as the Eagles, how they use their running backs, they're going to have to change how they do in order for him to have, good value.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, there's just not a lot that I really see that I like on his team. Because I guess I valued bench more than you did in my rankings.
I mean, I gave him a C-.
Yeah.
With Greg, I think I said earlier, but with me, it's just the first 3 picks. I feel like they can all be excellent, but they're all super injury prone. So I feel like that's where the whole team lies. And then it's kind of like your opinion. Like I was super high on Chris Carson going into the season of the three. But like I don't know if I said on the podcast or I said in pre-show, but I hate Greg's second half of the draft.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Looking over Greg's team again, I don't feel comfortable putting him in tier 2.
Okay.
Because just like his top 3 wide receivers are Stephon Diggs, Calvin Ridley, and Tyler Boyd, who are all fine, but no one that I'd want to be like the headline of my team. And then I can't even see another wide receiver on his team at the top of the draft board. His only other one is Randall Cobb and Mohamed Sanu.
Yeah.
He has 2 Falcons wide receivers. Greg.
Yeah. And it's not like he drafted 2 kickers or anything. So I'm fine with dropping Greg.
Yeah. I am fine putting you in tier 2.
I am too. The question is just Philip Lindsay to me. Otherwise, I think otherwise I think I'm a lock for that tier.
Mhm.
But it's just Philip Lindsay. That's my only thing.
Yeah.
So,
No. Okay.
And like if we're gonna do that, like I said earlier, I put potential 3 wide receiver ones on my
Yeah.
team.
So, you having the elite wide receivers definitely is a good argument
Yeah.
for you up. It's the opposite of Greg, pretty much.
Yeah.
He has elite running backs, but they aren't as elite as your wide receivers are.
All right, cool. So the next tier, we moved JP and Greg down from mine,
Mhm.
and I'm the only person I have left in this tier is Devin.
I have Devin in tier 3 as well.
So Greg, JP, Devin in tier 3.
Wait. Where did we put Justin? Is Justin in your
Justin's
bottom
my
tier?
bottom tier.
He is the bottom of my tier 3, so I'll
He-
punch him down.
I mean, we could move him up. He was fringe, but like the question is, are we putting Jake in his own tier?
Oof. Let's see. Let's compare Justin and Jake Logan's team.
They're right next to each other. So that's great.
They both have 2 good starting running backs, in my opinion.
Yes, I like Cooks over Cooper. I think. Oh,
But I like Michelle over Ingram.
Yeah, easily.
Mhm.
DJ Moore and Juice. Probably Cameron Newton's wide receiver 1.
Yeah, I like DJ Moore.
Yeah.
Definitely. But as you keep going down, Justin just keeps getting worse.
I mean, I like Moncrief over Corey Davis. I like AD's value down here at the 12th. James Washington could be the wide receiver 2 for Pittsburgh. So, I mean, which either one of these wide receivers work out to be wide receiver 2 for Pittsburgh because they have James Washington and Donnie Moncrief. And then the other, I forgot that Devin Funchess was on the Colts. No.
All right, looking at their teams again, I cannot make a solid argument for Justin's team to be better than Jake Logan's.
It's just like 3 tight ends,
Yeah.
and like I don't like any of them.
I mean, Hooper will be a safe play.
Sure.
He ended up tight end 7 last
actually,
year.
that's what I was thinking. I like Cooper the most,
Yeah.
but he's the 3rd pick.
When we put him in the Fantasy Pros Power Rankings, they had Hooper as his starting tight end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, with Luck out and with the backup tight end for Philly, yeah, Hooper is the starter.
If Ertz does go down, though, look out.
Yeah, that's true. So we're putting them in the same tier.
Yeah.
Bottom tier.
Bottom tier.
That's where I had them. Tier 1 was Tyler, Lassie, Cam, and Dylan. I know that.
We didn't have
Or,
Lassie.
shoot.
That was my tier 1.
Oh, that's right. Tyler, Cam, Dylan,
And Levi, right?
Levi, other L name. Oh, I just read it wrong.
I feel like that's basically the same tier that we had as tier 1 last year.
One thing that's been running through my head recently, at least the last day, has just been like, and we talked about it in the pre-show about like how close a lot of these teams are, like with how insane the keeper values were last year,
Mhm.
like the way that we've like melded out a bit, like I don't feel like there's a super team where I'm just like, oh my
Yeah.
God. Like when I looked at your team last year, I was like, no way. I'm like, why are we even playing? I'm like, I was like, what are we even doing here? But this year, I'm just like, man, like every team's an injury away from sucking, or just one player popping off from being really good. So, yeah. So yes, go. Top tier: Dylan, Tyler, Cam, Levi. Yeah. Second tier, we had Logan, myself, and Lassie.
Yeah.
Lassie. That's right. Third tier, we had Greg, JP, Devin.
Yeah.
And then last tier was Jacob Logan and Justin Moss. Alrighty, well there you guys go. There's your power rankings. Yeah.
If we just let's say we add up the tier number for every division just to see which division has the lowest number would be the best. We have 9 for alphas. We also have a 9 for Rotlack. And then that would leave. Wait, is Lassie in? Yeah, he's in Studs and Studs.
Yes, me, Lassie, Logan, and
They all add up to 9.
Oh my god,
Dude, each division is balanced. That's wild.
that's great. I didn't even realize. I guess maybe you said it earlier. I went over. I heard you say something like maybe it went over my head. But the second tier is just Studs and Stoners. It's kind of wild. And then it's got JP down there in second tier, third tier below. I mean, but yeah, this is the thing. This is a balanced league. No, anyone can win it. Before week 1, obviously anyone can win it. But I love it. Alrighty, I think I saved our power rankings. We spent enough time on this.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Wait, feel free
to
message us on Sleeper or whatever. Argue about why your team should be higher or lower.
Yeah, that's.
And we'll tell you why you suck.
Alrighty. Let's go into our final segment, and we're going to the mailbag.
Insert mailbag drop here.
We have one question in this week. And if you'd like to submit one for next week or any week, you can go to anyonebutcam@gmail.com, submit it there. or Twitter DM me. It doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to make like seem like like a real show where they have people emails, like a mailbag. Anyways, we have one letter in this week from Dylan Mickinen. He writes in, Frankie seemed upset. This is already going well. Frankie seemed upset that people he wanted, the people he wanted kept being drafted. Like he's the only one that listens to the fantasy footballers. Could he talk about the ones that hurt the most? Now, when I got this question, I was like, wow, Dylan's just really, really going for my gall. And as I rebutted in our text message conversation we had earlier today, you can see my list of players. It's in my hand. I have like pages and pages of players here. Like this was all no, you can chill out, and I'll tell you why you can chill out in a second here. Of players that I wanted a mid round. Most of my focus was mid round players. I feel like and I had my list of players I wanted, at least 80% of them, before I cross-referenced with the fantasy footballers. There was a lot of crossover. It turns out the experts know what they're talking about.
Oh, experts, you say.
Some experts do. A lot of them do. Not all. A lot of them do. So Dylan wants me to list the ones that hurt the most. No, Dylan, because you can trade and people will be dropped. And I'm not telling you, like, if my reactions weren't enough for you already, I'm not giving you more information. That's why you can't see my sheet. No. No. Thank you for the questions. And I think that'll wrap us up.
All right.
Thank you for listening to the first episode of Season 2 of the Anyone But Cam Fantasy Football Podcast. I have been Frankie.
I'm Cam.
And we will catch you next week with a look forward till week 1.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. We'll figure it out. We'll see you guys then.
Peace.